Elementary School. We're going to call this meeting to order. The time is now 7:32 at the NC Scott cafeteria. Adequate notice of tonight's meeting in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act has been provided through the following methods: distribution of notice to the record, posting of notice to the NC Scott Elementary School, Leonia Middle School, Leonia High School, Community Bulletin Board, Public Library, Leonia Borough Hall, and the district website. If everyone could please turn off their cell phones and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mrs. Albanese? Present. Mr. Casano? Mrs. Lisa Klein? Present. Mrs. Sandy Klein? Mr. Thalen?
Present.
Mr. Robbins?
Present.
Dr. Schuler? Present. Mrs. Thompson? Present. Mr. Weimer?
Present.
Mrs. Wiles?
She's on.
Dr. Berlini? Myself? Maria Martinez? Dr. Martinez? Hi. Mr. Anthony Service?
Present.
Mrs. Joanne Terrell?
Present.
Mr. Vic Lapira?
Present.
Christopher Morello?
Present.
Dennis Bajanoff?
Bajanoff.
Bajanoff, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Calendar?
Present.
And Mr. Sacco?
Present.
Okay, thank you. Is Mrs. King here? Ms. King? Present. Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Breyer?
Present.
Mr. Seringer? Surratt. You know what? I'll remember everybody's pet names, but I'm not good.
All right, I think we covered the bases on everybody who's here. All right, we will start off the evening with the introduction of our new staff members. Congratulations on being a part.
Thank you, Mr. Rollins. The first person I want to introduce is one of our new supervisors, Evelina Despain. She is, come on up, Evelina. I'm sorry. Evelina graduated with BA in Theater Arts and Speech. Also completed an MA in Instruction and Curriculum with a concentration in ESL in 2000.
Not respectful.
She taught for 12 years at Elizabeth as an ESL bilingual teacher. In 2017, she obtained a position as a bilingual ESL and world language supervisor for Patterson Public Schools before joining us as an ESL and world language supervisor. Her favorite activity is traveling. I'm jealous. She's visited 40 countries in 5 continents so far. Definitely jealous. And she's engaged to be married in what month? June. So welcome.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to call up our administrators to introduce different staff members. First, Mr. Service, who's Director of Special Services. Please welcome Mr. Service.
Hello, everyone. I'll start at the high school with Lindsay Goldstein Hawks. She is the social worker who has earned an undergrad degree in family studies from University of New Hampshire and a master's degree in social work from New York University. She has experience as a social worker both in the clinical setting and school settings. She spent the last 5 years working at the Therapeutic School Sage Day, where she counseled at-risk students dealing with anxiety, depression, and she is the loving wife and proud mother of 3 growing girls, Zoe, Lydia, and Riley. And moving on to ACS, where we have Alessandra Brivio, who is the resource room teacher. She has obtained an elementary school certificate with middle school math specialization at Rutgers University. She taught 2 years of middle school math in a dual language school in Hoboken. She is bilingual. She has experience teaching middle school math for students with learning disabilities in Bergenfield. And this is interesting. Before moving to the United States and starting a family, she worked as an industrial engineer in Peru.
Wow.
Next is Julie Homa. She is the MD1 teacher at ACS. She graduated from East Stroudsburg University in 2002 with a degree in elementary education and is currently attending Montclair State University to earn a master's degree in inclusive education with a concentration in students with disabilities. She's certified in both elementary and special education. She's previously taught basic skills instruction, resource room, and kindergarten, and she enjoys live music, cooking, spending time outdoors, and dining out with family. Last but not least is Lily Benson, our PSD teacher, preschool with disabilities teacher at ACS. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology in 2016 and a master's degree in early childhood and special education in 2017 from Fairleigh Dickinson University. Her previous work experience includes maternity leave positions in a PSD class and a general education preschool class. And in her free time, she enjoys being with her family and friends, traveling, enjoying the outdoors, and practicing yoga.
Thank you for the service. This year we've had, obviously you can tell by the number, we've had a large number of new hires. We had retirements both last year and during the summer. We added 7 new positions to the district because of our growing population. And also we had a few people leave for geographical relocation, Hawaii, Boston, and other areas in the country. So we have a large number tonight, and we're very happy with our new crop of teachers. They're very excited to be part of Leonia. Next up is Dr. Martinez, principal of ACS.
Good evening, Board of Education. Thank you so much for inviting us tonight. The first teacher I'd like to introduce is Ms. Mona Park. Ms. Park is a new 4th grade teacher at ACS. Ms. Park was a student teacher at ACS last year. Her investment in the students, the school, and the profession of teaching was so impressive that we worked hard to keep her. Ms. Park graduated from St. Peter's College. First, she worked at ACS as a maternity leave for a resource room, and now she is a classroom teacher. Ms. Park is a family-oriented person. She loves spending time with family and playing sports with friends. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Marcella Sansanelli. Ms. Sansanelli is a new collaborative preschool teacher at ACS. She is a graduate of New Jersey City University and has worked in early childhood for 14 years. Ms. Sansanelli has worked in Brazil and the United States as a teacher and an educational coach. In the classroom, Ms. Sansanelli is dedicated to making children feel loved, safe, and special. At home, she is the mom to 3 boys, and she loves to read, hike, and spend time with her dog, Leo. You can hear me okay? Yes. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Lina Da Silva. Ms. Da Silva is a new collaborative preschool teacher. Ms. Da Silva graduated from Teachers College, Columbia University with a master's in dual early childhood education. This year at ACS will be her 5th year teaching pre-K. She has taught universal pre-K in the Lower East Side of Manhattan for 4 years. When she is not working, Ms. Da Silva likes to read, crochet, play video games, and take care of her dogs and cats.
Good evening. It's not working. It's fine. I like the way I sound on the microphone anyway. I'm going to introduce 3 of our new staff members. I'm going to start with Miss Amy Lewis. Amy is one of our new media specialist and librarian. She graduated from Teachers College of Columbia University with a literacy specialist degree. Ms. Lewis is going into her 8th year of teaching. Her first year as a media specialist. She has taught kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and has also worked in an after-school literacy-based program with 3rd and 5th grade, so the entire range of students that we have here she has worked with before. Outside of school, she enjoys traveling. She loves to read, scrapbook. Over the summer, you can usually find her on the beach with at least 4 different books in her bag, a recently released middle grade book, a historical fiction book, an easy and fun read, and a professional text. Here we have 2 2 new hires in the music department. Our first is Miss Rachel Juford. Rachel is a graduate of Montclair State University, where she received her bachelor's degree in music education and master's degree in teaching. She's currently certified in music, teaching students with disabilities and K-6 general education. Over the summer, you can find her working with students with a wide range of specific needs. She spends most of her free time binge-watching shows on Netflix, taking long walks with her dog, and spending time with her two-year-old niece. I knew no kids because you wouldn't have time to watch Netflix. She's a frequent Disney World traveler and enjoys all things Disney. Welcome. Higher in the music department, Mr. Connor Battles could not be here tonight. Connor is a graduate of the Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers with a dual concentration in music education and jazz studies in January 2018. He has had a wide variety of teaching experiences, teaching at the primary and secondary level, as well as for the Rutgers University Community Arts Program. As a music educator, he focuses on developing in students' lifelong passion for music while building their music literacy skills. So we welcome Connor to our team.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez, Mr. Pryor, Mr. Sacco, Ms. King, and the middle school. Please welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having us here. Always a fun evening. I will be introducing a teaching staff member who's in LMS all day long, and 2 who we share with the high school. So up first is Kateri Nair. Kateri Nair grew up in Fort Washington, Wisconsin. She relocated to New Jersey with her husband in 2016. Kateri earned her Bachelor of Science in Art Education, a degree in 2011 from the University of Wisconsin, and has served as art teacher for public schools in both Wisconsin and Hoboken, New Jersey, prior to joining the LMS faculty. Kateri has told me that she aspires to be a published children's book illustrator someday. In the meantime, with her passion, talent, and energy on full display, Kateri is already making a big and positive splash in the LMS art department. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present LMS Teacher of Art, Ms. Kateri Nair. Next up, we have Dominic Palmieri. Dominic Palmieri grew up in Wayne, New Jersey, earned his Bachelor of Arts degree from Montclair State University in 2017, and has gone on to complete his Master of Arts degree in Education. As part of his studies, Dominic engaged in a full-year clinical internship, serving as a social studies teacher at both Garfield Middle School and Ridgewood Benjamin Franklin Middle School. As a result of his hard work during his internships, Dominic was nominated to receive New Jersey's Distinguished Clinical Intern Award. He's a real find and a great addition to our social studies department. He's already told me he loves it here in Leonia. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to welcome our new teacher of social studies for LMS and LHS, Mr. Dominic Palmieri. And now we have Arthur Scopa. Arthur Scopa grew up in nearby New Milford, New Jersey. In 2013, Arthur graduated summa cum laude from Montclair State University with his degree in health education and a concentration in public health. Arthur has been a member of the Leonia School District for the past 4 years, serving as assistant to the athletic director, special education paraprofessional, and a member of the coaching staff for the LHS football team and LMS track and field team. Although it's difficult to think of Arthur as new to Leonia, he has just begun his first year as one of our full-time teachers, and he's doing a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our new teacher of phys ed and health at LMS and LHS, and like myself, a huge Star Wars fan, Mr. Arthur A.J. Scopa.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of introducing Laura O'Meara. Laura O'Meara has been involved in the arts, having previously casted in a number of musical theater productions, many of which are nonprofit, where all proceeds go to benefit a local child in need. Laura has also worked in film and commercials. In more recent years, she has continued acting and portraying Disney characters. at children's birthday parties. The company focuses on girl and boy empowerment, as well as working with a number of charities and hospitals where they dedicate time to making families smile. It is with great pleasure to present to you Laura O'Meara, LMS Language Arts teacher. Next I have Karen Nichols. Before switching to education, Karen studied environmental archaeology and spent 2 field seasons excavating at the ancient city of El Mirador in northern Guatemala. Following in the footsteps of her grandmother and mother, Karen is the 3rd woman in her family to earn a graduate degree at Monmouth University. Although I have no evidence of this next thing, Karen describes herself as a klutz. However, this does not impact her love for mountain bike riding. I now present Karen Nichols and my finance.
Thank you, Mrs. Atkins. And now, the last but not least, the high school administration, Mr. Manager, and Mr. County.
Sorry, Mark.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight. At the high school, we have quite a few new staff members. Some of you have already been introduced to. I will begin by introducing Melissa Petrella. Melissa Petrella, formerly Fitzgibbon. She was married after we hired her. Studied at Fordham University for undergrad and graduate school. She studied business administration and has a master's degree in business analytics. Melissa taught math at a small private school last year, but previously worked in marketing and data analysis for a Fortune 100 company. At Leonia, Melissa is teaching business classes and is one of our decade advisors. Melissa Petrella.
Good evening. I'm going to first introduce Tricia Cunningham McMurray. Ms. McMurray started her career teaching Spanish K-5 before pursuing other linguistic and cross-cultural career initiatives while obtaining her master's degree at NYU with a focus in Latin American and Caribbean Studies in 2009. She's worked with Berlitz Languages Incorporated and various clientele ranging from pharmaceutical professionals, FBI agents, as well as world travelers. Tricia can be described as creative, hardworking, and thoughtful. Tricia's leisure time activities include reading, traveling, and spending time with family. Tricia is thrilled to be joining the Leonia High School community.
Next, we have Richard Brady. Richard is entering his 5th year as a physics teacher and first at LHS after working at both Hackensack and St. Mary's of Rutherford. He graduated from the University of Pittsburgh with a bachelor's in electrical engineering. Prior to teaching, Richard worked for 20 years as an operations analyst and engineer for large financial service institutions. He and his wife have 4 sons, and when he is not working, he enjoys spending time with his family, hiking, and reading. Richard Brady.
I'll now introduce Robert Mancuso. Robert is thankful to be working at Leonia High School and has been with us since January of this past year. Robert is a 2006 graduate of Montclair State University, where he graduated with honors. This is his 9th year teaching, and he has taught every grade between 6th and 12th during his career in New Jersey public schools. Presently, Robert is teaching 10th and 11th grades at Leonia High School. Robert.
Next, we have Krista Durofsky. Krista graduated from Moravian College with a degree in biology and received a master's in biomedical sciences from Rutgers. Krista is entering her 4th year of teaching, working previously at Palisade Park High School. In her spare time, she likes to travel, read sci-fi and fantasy novels, and watch entire Netflix series in one sitting. She's very excited for the opportunity of teaching at Leonia. Krista Durofsky.
Now I introduce Rachel Kim. Rachel Kim is a new math teacher at the high school. She'll be teaching Algebra 1 and Geometry this year. Rachel recently graduated from the University of Maryland, College Park, this past May. She double majored in mathematics and secondary education, graduating with a secondary mathematics education certification. She did a full year of student teaching during her senior year, teaching Algebra 1 and Advanced Algebra 2 for 9th to 12th grade students. In her free time, she likes to play soccer and enjoys anything in the outdoors. 3 words to describe her would be sociable, excited, and adventurous.
Next is somebody who's not new to LHS, Ms. Candice DiLorenzo. Ms. DiLorenzo graduated from Colville University in 2017 with a bachelor's in psychology, and she completed her master's in counseling with a school counseling specialization this past May. She spent the entire last year as an intern for Ms. Stein and the Student Services Department at LHS, and previously interned at Maywood Avenue Middle School. Candice's other passion is dance, and she teaches tap, hip-hop, and other styles of dance. In her spare time, she teaches Zumba and other fitness classes weekly and at various fundraising events. Candice DiLorenzo.
I'll now introduce Erin Callahan. Erin has a very special birthday, which falls on New Year's Eve. She graduated this past May from Kutztown University, which is in Pennsylvania, with a certification in mathematics and special education. This will be her first year of teaching. Erin is a huge fan of running and competed in cross country and track while at Kutztown. She's competitive, athletic, and, in her words, most importantly, a mathematical nerd.
And now we have Jessica Kim. Jessica is with us since January last year. She's building, or she took over, I should say, after Miss Slater retired mid-year last year for us. So Jessica received her BA in cell biology and neuroscience from Rutgers University. She then joined the New York City Teaching Fellows, where she received her Master's of Arts in Teaching with a biology concentration. She has taught at the Academy of Technology in the Bronx and then at Palisades Park High School. She joined us this past January, and this will be her 7th year of teaching. She loves teaching and building relationships with her students to motivate them in their studies. In her free time, she enjoys staying active through rock climbing and flag football. Jessica Kim.
I now present Rebecca Velasquez. Rebecca attended both Ramapo and Montclair, where she obtained a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics and her K-12 teaching certification. Over the course of the last 2 years, she has taught courses ranging from pre-algebra all the way through pre-calculus. As her birthday falls on the same day as Martin Luther King Jr., she's lucky enough to always have a 3-day weekend for her birthday. Her birthday also makes her Capricorn, which is why she can be described as very ambitious, practical, and creative. She's very excited to bring these qualities to our school community this year. In her free time, she enjoys going to the beach, hiking, playing sports, hanging out with her dog, and binge watching Netflix.
Yes.
All right, on behalf of the Board of Education, I just want to welcome you all to the Leonia School District and say congratulations.
And for many years I sat over there introducing the staff and I always waited patiently for the superintendent to dismiss everyone. You're more than welcome to stay for the entire meeting. We'll take a 2-minute break. If you want to leave, you're more than welcome to leave. Good luck, everybody.
All right, we are now at the public comment, concerns, questions, or praise on agenda items. For non-agenda items, we ask that you bring it up at the second public comment period. And we ask that you keep your comments to 2 minutes. So if you wish to speak, please give your name and address. Any member of the public who wishes to speak at this time?
Carol Cicerone and Westview Avenue in Newton. I don't know if this is an agenda item, but I just want to thank the two, Dr. Berling and Bryce, for coming to International Day of Peace. We appreciated your being there, sharing the bus, sharing what environmental things you guys have made, the progress that's going on in our school, and anybody else who was there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for praise. Yeah, praise is good. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak at this time? All right, seeing none, is there a member who would like to move Mary? Is there a second? Lisa? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Public comment is now closed. For board comment, does any member of the board have a board comment? Well, I will start. Carol, you stole what I was going to do. I'm going to thank you. I wanted to say that we attended the International Peace Day and wanted to thank Ms. Schultring for the invitation to the Board of Education. We had a wonderful time. We heard many wonderful speakers, and we were very happy to get to show off some of the board's green initiatives. So thank you very much. Are there any other members of the board?
Noreen will probably mention this in the presentation, but Oktoberfest, Mr. Weimer is the Rotary, but he coordinates the entire thing. All of it goes for the snack packs for our students. That is on Saturday from 4 to 10. It's supposed to be good weather, so we'd love to see
You
you.
may have tickets on.
I have tickets later.
You can also get them at Cafe Mignon or at the door.
And that reminds me of October 19th, there's going to be a celebration of Leonia. It's many anniversaries. The 125th anniversary of the borough being incorporated as a borough. A few other dates that I forget this time, but it'll be a great celebration. And our propane buses will be giving tours of the town, of these historical sites. David Braun is organizing it, so thank you to him for this wonderful event that's coming up on October 19th. All right.
Do you want to know what the other celebrations are?
Sure, please.
Okay, it's 100 years of the Players Guild,
Okay.
one of the oldest amateur.
I think it's the oldest.
I think it's the oldest.
Yeah, I think it's the oldest, yeah.
It is also an anniversary of the American Legion Local 1, again, one of the first, I think the first.
It is,
certainly
yeah.
in Bergen County and maybe in New Jersey. And it's 50 years since the opening of this new library building.
That's
So
awesome.
there's a lot of celebrating.
Thank you so much.
Where does that start?
It's starting at the libraries, and I believe the tours will start at the library.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
From 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Well, the tours, I believe, are from 2 to 4, if you want to go on the bus tour.
Okay.
Okay.
So I met with David about it. I think there's a little ceremony first, and then the bus tour will occur after that.
Seeing no further board comments at this time, we'll move on to the approval of the last board minutes from September 10th. Oh, well, student comments, my bad. You guys have any comments, or do you want to save it for your reports? Sounds good. Does you review it?
If he's doing his own report, I will.
You're your own person? You want?
That's good. Solidarity.
All right, solidarity. There you go. All right, we'll move to the approval of minutes for the September 10th meeting. Is there a motion? Ms. Klein, is there a second? Ms. Truitt? Was everybody there? Was everybody there at the previous meeting? I think everyone was there. I think everybody was there.
You can do it all in favor.
Yeah, so if we do all in favor, is there a motion? Ms. Klein, is there a second?
Oh, we did that right.
Oh, yeah, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. We'll move on to administrative reports. Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Watkins. I'm happy. I wish the teachers were still here tonight to thank them for voting yes on the contract. If you recall last meeting, there was 2 points that had to occur first before the approval, and the first one was that the school boards would approve the contract, and then the teachers would ratify it. So at this point, we have settled with the teachers for the next 3.5 years. We're very happy that there'll be peace in the district through June of 2023. We settled with custodians in June, and now their contract will run for 5 years to 2024. The only group that we still need to negotiate with is the administrators and supervisors, and hopefully that'll go as smoothly as the first 2. So you read in the papers all the issues with contracts between the teachers and the board. We've always respected our teachers. The teachers respect the board. It's a very good working relationship between the teachers and the Board of Education. So I'm thrilled that we're able to do this without any negative talk between both sides. So I really appreciate that. I want to thank the teachers and the administrators for their support. We have nearly completed our plans for October 14th Professional Day. The focus will be on Tier 1 interventions, which is an attempt to help students that don't have an IEP, that don't have modifications in a 504 plan. Any student that's struggling, whether it be special ed, 504, or general ed, plans are for teachers to work with them in the classroom to try to get them to understand the material. So that's called the Tier 1 intervention, and that is our focus this year at all 3 schools. We also had our first meeting for our 7th Academy, which hopefully will start in September of 2021, which will be the Academy for Vocations and Trades, a unique program, probably no comprehensive public high school in Bergen County has one. Obviously, we're trying to educate all our students and offer opportunities for our students that are not necessarily going to go to college. And hopefully it'll be September 21. Our third back-to-school night is this Thursday for ACS. The middle school and high school already had their back-to-school nights, which were very well attended. I want a special congratulations to Tim Cullen, who's our girls' tennis coach. He had a very big win yesterday against Dwight, but more importantly, he won his 500th match this year, last couple weeks ago. It was highlighted in the newspaper the other day. Usually you get recognized for 100 wins, and 500 wins is significant. It means that we've had some very talented tennis players. We also have the leadership of Tim Collins. We're very, very proud for Tim, very happy for Tim. 500 career wins is a very large milestone. Interesting in the papers yesterday on the news, you might have read or heard that New York City is contemplating eliminating chocolate milk from their schools, and we've already done that at ACS, so we're leading the way. I guess they've heard about us in New York. Oh, in an 8-ounce container of chocolate milk, which is the small ones you get, there are 5 extra packets of sugar, and each one is 26 grams of sugar in an 8-ounce chocolate milk. It's like a can of soda, so we've eliminated that so the students eat healthier. We've had 2 planning meetings for their reunification plan for the district, which is in a crisis situation, how we're going to reunite the parents with the students. We'll have our first team meeting on October 14th, and Ms. Alvarez will be the member from the board representing the Board of Education. 2 of our teachers, Christina Lee and Jennifer Kim from ACS, and Christina Lee from the middle school, once again received grants from the Bergen County Utilities Authority for conservation efforts in both schools. On October 11th, interestingly, our students at ACS will participate in a farmer's market during the school day, the day of the photo day. So they'll take their photos and then they'll shop. And the farmer's market will be right here on the property. So it's, again, a way to encourage our students to eat locally and to eat healthy. So that'll be October the 11th. And for the first time, the Green Team, which represents the Board of Education, received bronze status. For the first time, there's 108 schools in New Jersey that have received status, and 3 of our schools, all 3, ACS, middle school and high school. We were looking to go to silver, but unusually there's no gold status. It's only bronze and silver. I'm not too sure the reasoning why there isn't a gold status. It makes sense. There's gold. There isn't. So our next step, and our only next step, would be silver. So we're going to receive an award down in Atlantic City during school boards for all 3 of our schools. So that's it.
All right, next we have our business administrator report.
We are getting prepared for our annual comprehensive audit. We're scheduled for the end of October. I have talked to Dr. Berlini. I'm going to not attend New Jersey School Boards because it's the week right before, so I can really prepare for that. I don't want to lose those 32 hours, and I think that that's important for me to be here. I've had a Systems 3000 budget prep webinar today, which I can tell you that the system that we have, there were some questions on what it could do. I discovered we are truly underutilizing everything that it can do, and the budget process is going to be handled much differently. It's going to be interactive with the administrative people within the whole district. Instead of them being told at the end, we've made this decision, we can actually see the progress and have historical notes on each piece so that it's not just wiped out in an Excel sheet and we have no idea where it went.
As a former principal, it was always discouraging to start the budget process, like presenting your budget to the central office, and then 10 months later find out that it was approved, but it was slashed or it was changed. By Tina doing it like this, it'll keep the administrators from each school part of the process, which is very, very important. It'll make the principals of each building very happy. Only sad part is that no longer principals on the same chair. I want to participate in the vote.
I'll make sure you're actively involved. It's the part of it, you can do it in steps, so as each administrator puts in their budgets, they can say what they would like, and when they come to the next step and I'm reviewing it, I can see what they put in, they can see what we've changed, we can have conversations about it, so we have an idea of what it was, and then next year when we say what happened, it's still right there, you can do a report on it, so you can see why, and we're going to make sure we put in notes that we keep a historical record of instead of the past practice. I'm also working on, we're getting ready for QSAC and see, what is QSAC, I don't, what
Quality assurance.
Quality.
Something.
It's
basically state checking out.
it's a state audit, and different than the annual comprehensive for financial. This they look at governance, they look at policy, they look at fiscal, and they look at facilities. Yes. So they look at everything, and in starting the process, my office has begun to develop a purchasing manual, which I believe the district could use anyway. So it will outline procedures that should be done that are in accordance with statutes, so that everybody has an idea, so it's not a different request every week or every month, so that everybody has a consistency. And I think that that's only fair to everybody in the district, and it also helps maintain fiscal accountability.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to committee reports. First up would be education.
There's no hit.
There is no hit to report for.
There's one in the making, but not ready to report.
There's no report at the moment.
Okay, so education, we are going to meet shortly. We are going to hear from Mr. Count about the Restorative Justice Conference that they went to. The other thing that is going to be the topic is we want to hear all about the SMILE program, the math program, so that we can report it to the public and what worked well and what didn't, and now we have some scores back and to look at that kind of stuff. And then eventually we'll be, helping and assisting with the academy. But our first meeting is going to focus on the restorative justice and the report from SMILE.
Just one positive thing out of the SMILE program, as you know, it's for mediation, for advancement, and for just fun camps. Of the students that failed math in the middle school, there were 10 of them, 12 of them actually. All 12 went to summer school for remediation, getting more foundational skills, and all 12 passed the course during the summer. So we gave out a significant amount of tuition scholarships for students that were economically disadvantaged, but all of them passed, which is great.
And I just want to thank the Education Committee for starting the process of looking into the new seeking to the new vocational academy. I think it's a much needed area that is often underserved. So I wanted to thank you for starting that up. That's really wonderful. All right, next we move on to finance operations. Mr. Weimer.
Thank you. We just prior to this meeting, we are reviewing our meeting calendar that needs to be reworked to accommodate school boards and a couple of other conflicts that we have, and that wedding anniversaries. But we need to get our calendar for the rest of the year settled. One of the things that we are going to start to do is by reviewing the bill list, we're going to look at a different format than it is in right now when we receive it in our board package. Right now it's organized by purchase order number, which makes perfect sense in terms of the workflow in the central office. For our review, it makes more sense to have it actually organized by categories and vendors, so we can see more of the summary picture of individual categories. In this context, we are beginning a review of whether it makes sense for our school district to actually do a utility audit. There are corporations that will, at no cost to the school district, perform an audit of telecommunications, water and sewage, and electric and gas, and they will share in the savings with the school district. So for a 3-year period, we would share the savings that they negotiate. So there's no upfront cost for us, and we share over 36 months the savings on a monthly basis with those corporations. We will look into that, look at different vendors that offer that, and see after we do a number of bill list comparisons on those subjects. We'll present it to the board whether it makes sense for us to pursue that further. We'll also start looking into the funding for the turf field project after the meeting that we had with Land Associates and the borough. Now that the financial figures are being refined, we have the responsibility to look at how this fits into our funding context, so that when it comes up for a decision, the board has all the information the board needs to conclude that on. I continue to dig my way through the tuition formula. I am making progress like a honey badger. It is an interesting process because of the complexity of the way tuitions are calculated, and the budget that the board approves contains an estimated tuition rate based on expected enrollment. And 2 years later, the state actually certifies, based on the actual budget and the actual enrollment, whether we charge the correct amount or not. Based on that, we either receive additional monies or we have to refund monies. However, there is still the open question of whether we are charging the correct amount in the beginning and what happens to the difference. The amounts involved are significant. For the last 5 years, we are looking at over $1 million that, at best, we as Leonia taxpayers are continuously financing, because we will get it back eventually. That is the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is that we won't get those $1 million. So I will continue to look into that and report back to the board on a regular basis. For our next meeting, we will start the review of the budget. Tina has already mentioned that the budget process has already started, and with System 3000, the Finance Committee hopefully will be able to give an earlier indication of where we are going with the budget to the board, and not last minute as it has been in the past, and we just are presented with the final budget. That's all I have.
All wonderful. All right. Community relations and communications. Ms. Childs.
Yeah, thank you. So we met last night, and actually, sorry, I forgot to tell you Dr. Day. We met with absent secret absent. So we really 3 things there. So the first thing was at the last meeting, I had mentioned to all of you that every 3 weeks or so, we were going to be sending out a form. It's a Google form that you fill out. It takes 5 seconds. It's just a list of events that are upcoming, both community and school events. Just yes, no, then we can see everybody's response. And the point is that if we see out of like 10 events, only 8 are covered, we would try to get someone to attend the events where there's not a board member present. So I will be sending out that form probably tomorrow. Not everyone filled it out last time. In October, there are a lot of events. So as soon as I double check the list and make sure I have everything, all of you will receive that. So please fill that out. So that's one thing, to make sure we have someone at every event. Secondly, the website. So the website we've been working on, we put our board goals up there. At the last meeting, we discussed having all board members' email addresses on there, which has been added. Bryce just told me you can click on each address if you want to send an email to a board member. So that's up. As far as the board initiatives, right now we just have one landing page for that, and last night we decided it wasn't really user-friendly to have all the initiatives on one place. So I am working with USMA to add 4 additional subheadings, which we would organize by committee. So we would have a page for school safety, where you could find safety information there, a page for education initiatives, a page for long-range planning, and a page for finance. So each committee, and luckily, everyone on the Community Relations Committee is also a chair of one of those other committees. So hopefully we'll have that all updated soon. And then the third thing we talked about was the census. So as many of you know, the census is happening next year in 2020. It's taken every 10 years. It is an important thing for schools because of the federal funding, right? A lot of federal funding decisions come out of the census. And I'm not by any means a census expert, but some of the things that are decided based on those numbers are things like Title I school grants, special education grants, national school lunch and breakfast programs, child and adult food care programs, etc. So the data from that, drives a lot of money that obviously we're interested in. So one of the things we wanted to recommend was that we become a census partner. And all you need to do that is basically you sign up. And it sounds like, and I will get more information, but it sounds like you can participate sort of as little or as much as you want. So at the very least, if we on the board become a census partner, we would start receiving materials and updates and alerts, right? So that we can at least educate people on the census so they know when it's coming, how you fill it out. There's also a lot of misconceptions, right, about the census and what information they take. So we could just sort of be like the communication piece.
Yeah, there could also be, we wanted to do they will actually.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So then, in addition to that,
sorry.
we could post a whole bunch of things where they actually send people out. So examples would be, you could have a professional day where you train staff. We could actually have them come out and post a job fair. The census hires a lot of people to take the census, obviously. We could have a census day. We could have census kiosks set up somewhere in town so that people can come fill out their census at a kiosk. So there's a whole host of things you can do. But I think at the very least, it's worth us signing up to just get the information and alerts, and then we can kind of take it from there and decide, how much we want to do based on. So I think that's everything else.
So I think our main goal is just to educate everyone about what the census is and the meaning,
why
it's not, and why it's important, and also even extending that to, since the students are going to hear this, making, students are going to understand it, and that whole thing.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Can we do it in your business?
You can do it in your business if you're going to officially join. Sure. Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, next for long-range facility planning, we had a very good meeting regarding the turf field with Land Associates. They're our architects and engineers. Their design, also Mary Ziegler was in attendance, and it was a good meeting. We found out that there will not be any touching of wetlands down there, so it makes the permitting process much easier. So we will not be doing anything there. Right now, it's going to be going over to the DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection of the state of New Jersey, and they will be reviewing that and providing any permitting. But a very good meeting. And I also heard from a few former LHS softball players who asked about the dugouts. The dugouts will remain, and there's some sentimental value to the dugouts. They paint their names on them, or their handprints, so it's good to know that they will be staying. Regarding anything else, I think that's it for me. So next we'll go over to school safety.
Yep. As Maria was saying, there's going to be a section on the website for safety and security updates that we're going to be doing to any of the schools in the district. I've already worked on a document that we're going to be putting up hopefully very soon, within the next couple of weeks, and it's to the public's point of wanting to know what kind of improvement we made, but we are going to leave off anything that's kind of confidential that needs to be secure. But it's quite a lengthy list, so we're actually very proud of the accomplishments that we've made in such a short amount of time in terms of security measures on the school grounds and in putting our SSOs into the schools and just the awareness and the social emotional learning programs that we've instilled and started using in the schools too. It's a really big component for mental health. And I know that's a very hot topic right now, and I'll be going to some workshops when I'm going down to workshops in Atlantic City. I'll be attending social emotional learning workshops, different safety workshops, and things like that. So far, so good.
Wonderful. All right, pre-K nothing. Negotiations, we already did that. And I just want to say thank you to both Dr. Bertolini, the negotiations committee, and the LEA. It's wonderful that a year ahead of schedule. That is really a wonderful accomplishment. All right, our student representatives. How would you like to proceed?
So as simple as it may sound, room temperatures, right? They have a major impact on the learning environment. And many of my peers have complained a lot about the room temperatures fluctuating greatly in the high school. Some rooms are really hot and other rooms are really cold. And obviously this is a great deterrent in focus and concentration, and this results in a lack of productivity and focus. So I think the problem is that many teachers can't control the temperature in their own rooms. And I think if there was a method devised to allow them to do so, it would greatly help, because, like I said, a lot of students have no way of accounting for all temperatures. They could bring jackets, but I don't think they should have to. Or if they dress up too warm, then a room that's too warm is obviously too warm. they can't focus on their work. And it's obviously very uncomfortable. I know a lot of students don't want to be thinking about whether they're sweating or like with their hands shaking, shivering if it's too cold.
Two suggestions. One, talk to Mr. Sinat during the calendar, and also layers. Always to wear. Well, something like that. Some rooms are just the way it is. The layers are always good. So talk to Mr. Sinat during the calendar just to figure out which rooms are really too warm or too cold.
It's an issue that plagues all schools.
Yeah.
HVAC balancing is very difficult.
But sometimes it can be corrected. And we have Eduardo, who's a HVAC person, and we hired, so he can help out. But again, let Mr. Sinat during his calendar now. Okay?
Hopefully you won't need layers.
Layers are easy.
You can only take off so much.
Mr. Morales, you have
So, I have two concerns, or not concerns, but suggestions, I guess. So, in order to prepare for this meeting, I took advantage of the greatest resource at my disposal, which is social media. So I posted on my Snapchat if like any student, if you have anything, like one thing you could change or add, or any suggestion for the school, like let me know. And so I got numerous responses. Some were jokes, but a lot of people said like no homework. Two concerns that I got were the passwords. So I don't know if it's the same at LMS or ACS, but at LHS the passwords to get into a Google account is the LHS in all caps followed by your student ID, and they're not changeable. So, and your student ID is a 7-digit code, but all student IDs, I believe, start with 202, either 2021 and 2022, or 20.
I think it goes by the year of graduation, doesn't it?
Yes.
I think we're just giving away everyone's passwords.
So, exactly. So it essentially becomes a 4-digit code protecting all of your work, and a lot of people think it's unprotected because they've worked so hard. They have years. I personally have documents from 5th grade on my Drive account, and so a lot of people are concerned that maybe somebody can get their hands on like one list or something, or even see somebody and catch a glimpse of their student ID and then have access to everything. And something else was. So you want more secure passwords? You want to be able to change passwords?
Yeah. Again, talk to the two of them. Maybe not tonight, but tomorrow. Good point.
You do a
big point.
I wonder if they could do authenticate. Two-step with their phones. That might make it much safer. But yeah, that's actually a big concern. But you, Mr. Roy?
This is actually a very good point, and it piggybacks on something that you have mentioned previously. It's a question of what committee would have to take it up. we need to look at cybersecurity in our schools. It's not just the student account, but this is a very important point, because if that is the structure of the password, there is no password. Everybody knows what the structure is, and randomly goes through the rest of the numbers. But as a school, we are exposed to cybersecurity risks that can significantly impact our operations. And it's something that you have mentioned before, and we need to start looking into that very seriously.
Elizabeth, we discussed it today about investing in as a backup for all our documents.
Yeah.
So she's doing some investing.
There are numerous school districts that have been hit with ransomware, and this is not something that we want to go to.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we always have to change our passwords, and your password is the same forever. That's right. Yeah. So again, something with the calendar and semester.
Those things are getting national attention.
Yeah, you don't really have because you can't. Somebody can look over and see your ID number, and then you can be hacked. Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm glad we're looking into more cybersecurity.
The second point.
So my second point is, I know we're student representatives, but I think that extends to former students. So, I have a sister who just started college, and I know a bunch of other people that just started college, right? And a lot of them are concerned because they don't have access to their work that they did in high school, like their school email got deleted, or like I don't know, they just don't have access, and so they think that high school.
Mr. Kelly, he's going to say something.
That's an accurate statement. So we delete in July. We delete all the 12th grade accounts. The tech department deletes that. I would have to look into the reason as why we do that. I don't know if it's a space thing. I don't know exactly why we do, but the accounts go inactive as of July, and they cannot access. We do make announcements prior to pull anything off you need. It sounded this year I've gotten a lot of emails. It doesn't sound like some of our graduates took our information and pulled things off that they didn't.
Maybe you can make it. It sounds silly to make it part of senior week where you give them a half hour to take anything off. I guess there's a point where they lose this stuff, but we should make sure we should notify them. Maybe again a half hour during senior week, start downloading your stuff or take it.
I know colleges and universities have legacy accounts that last for like a year, but
sooner or later they lose it.
Yeah, sooner or later they will use it. It lasts for a little.
We have to maybe do a better job of communicating because they're going to lose it.
Is it really the email that they want, or is it like they want their
Press.
Is it really the email they want? They want their work, right? Like,
their work.
Yeah, like notes and work. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, next we'll move on back to the regular meeting. It's education, and I believe that we can vote on these things as written, as they're part of the public agenda. Is there a motion on the items in education? Fine. Is there a second? Ms. Schuler? Dr. Schuler? Thank you. Is there any? Yep, Sean?
On the 0924 11C19, the curriculum items, I see that we are adding dance as already get a head shake?
No, we just have to have the curriculum.
We have to have
the curriculum. We don't have to all.
Okay.
So we are not playing all.
Okay, so all the secret questions that would have followed are...
It's a Q-second part. We lose points if you don't have the curriculum.
If you don't have a curriculum for them.
That's correct.
Is it in the handbook?
Okay. So in that case, in this discussion, I make a personal comment. I am not objecting to that at all. But having it as part of the curriculum does not sound to me a wise investment of our education dollars. We want to offer dance as an extracurricular activity. I'm all in favor of it. If you want to offer it as an option to phys ed, I'm all in favor. But when we need to focus on bringing our math scores up, adding a dance curriculum seems to be wrong-headed to me.
It's just required to have it.
But it may, it's a requirement.
New Jersey.
Okay, so I have two comments. Number one, it is a requirement from CUSAC because whoever was in charge played dance at the time. That's what they told us at our meeting. But number two, I know right now, of course, but I don't think dance is something to act like it's so frivolous, or that we shouldn't have any dance classes, because first of all, we can't right now substitute it for a gym. It's not allowed in code. But I do think that dance, just like music, I mean, eventually can help with mathematics, can help with, it can be part of like anatomy, physiology, and all other things. And I'm not saying right now, but I don't think dance is frivolous.
All right, are there any other comments? Okay, seeing none, roll call please.
Mrs. Albanese?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Dr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Weimer?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So we already did the ACS, just to let everybody know, because Sandy Fine's not here, so we didn't have to go through it. All right, we're going to move up right along to finance, and we can vote again as written. Is there a motion? Ms. Albanese, is there a second? Mr. Wiles? Is there any discussion? Mr. Weimer?
Keeping up my record.
No, that's fair.
I'm just bringing this up with the attention of the board and the public that is present. We are voting on a tuition agreement for a student. That agreement is for a total of $100,440 for one student. I mentioned this at the last board meeting. This is a problem in the state of New Jersey, that local school districts have to carry the burden of special education requirements. This is not about the students and the need that they have to receive the proper education and the accommodations that they need. It is a question whether the local communities can carry such burden without compensation by the state.
But we did, in this case, we're all, since it's such a large number, we'll get about 50% back.
Does it make $50,000?
Yeah. But still, it's not that much. It's very large now.
Yes, it is.
All right. Is there any further discussion on any of the items of finance? Okay, seeing none, roll call please.
Mrs. Albanese?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Robin?
Yes.
Dr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Weimer?
Aye.
Mrs. Wiles?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, great. We will move right along to policy. We can vote again as written. This is the first reading of all mandatory policies. No, except two. Last one on the agenda, parent organizations and media relations. Okay. One second. We need a motion first. You want to do it? Is there a motion? I'm good. Mr. Phelan, is there a second?
Lisa.
That's fine. All right, discussion.
Yes.
Mr. Weimer.
Thank you. Depending on the outcome of the discussion, I may want to pull one of the policies.
I'm just going to say it's 3 for 3 today. No, that's perfectly fine.
Which one are we?
We're going into October, so I'm trying to hit
the home run.
over 500. Yeah. It's policy 5111, eligibility of resident and non-resident students. In both the policy and the regulation, the option for the school board to accept F1 students has been stricken. The last time the board adopted this policy, we specifically included F1 students. I do not know who initiated that it would be taken out again, and I renew the point that I've made early on this. This policy and this regulation are direct at what the board is allowed to do in order to investigate whether any students are eligible to receive a free education as residents of the district or having their domicile in the district. It would hit me as indefensible if we were to specifically exclude F1 students from this policy when the very same policy requires us to provide a free education to students whose presence is in violation of existing law. So we would penalize by excluding students from a foreign country who are willing to follow the laws in order to study at a U.S. high school and pay tuition at our not quite cheap tuition rate, while the state requires us to provide free education to any student who resides in our community. Hits me as being inconsistent, but it also hits me as being indefensible with regard to penalizing people who would be willing to follow the law.
Sure. First of all, the law says that we have to educate all our students. So even if the students are documented, the Supreme Court has ruled clearly that's our responsibility to educate any student in our district.
I'm fully aware of that.
The law is the Supreme Court's law. The Supreme Court says that we have to educate. So they're not breaking the law by getting educated. We have to break the law.
I didn't say that.
What I said
it would be inconsistent. It would be inconsistent for us penalizing someone who is willing to follow the immigration laws, while we are legally obligated to provide a free education to those who broke the law.
Well, I just want to clear up that the Supreme Court has ruled that we have to educate.
Yeah, that's
first of all. Second of all,
I'm acknowledging that.
The F1 student in public high schools only have 1 year of eligibility, unlike a private school. The federal law for a private school or for a university or for postgraduate work is more than 1 year. In a public high school, for whatever reason, they only allow 1 year of an education. Two concerns there. One, as Ms. McGarvey stated during her term, and I agree with her viewpoint, that we're responsible for that student. Certainly when if the person is legal, to the extent their visa past their legal date, the school district is responsible for that student. And second of all, if a student comes here as a junior or as a senior and doesn't stay in the district, drops out, we're responsible for that as part of our graduation rate. It's a tremendous amount of paperwork for 1 year of eligibility. And that's why I don't think we should include it.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Just from a legal standpoint.
Yes.
So you can choose whether you want to keep it in your policy or not, but until you get approved by, I think it's called the SEVP, Student Exchange Visa Program, and there's a provision that I think it's part of the Department of Homeland Security, if I remember correctly, but until you get approved by them, we can't do it, right? So you can still have it in your policy saying that, we will not, technically speaking, all it says is that there's a few things that you cannot ask for. One of the things you can't ask for is immigration or visa status, except if it's an F1 visa. But unless and until you make the application to SEVP to become an approved school, you still can't take them in under that program. So you can leave it in the policy or not, or take it out of the policy, whatever it is. If you decide to apply to be part of that program, there's fees involved. You have to go through that, but that hasn't been done lately. Right? I don't think the board has approved, if I recall. There's very few public high schools that are approved to do it in New Jersey.
Very
a lot of private
schools because it's 4 years.
Yeah.
About 4 years of education.
But what I'm saying is, it's either you can still leave it in the policy, but not apply to the program, and therefore you're still not going to take those students in necessarily, or you can take it out of the policy, and then if you make a decision to apply for the program, then you have to put it back in. One way or the other. But whether it's in the policy now or not doesn't mean that we can do it. We still have to apply to SEVP. Right? You follow what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more discussion on the matter? Okay, seeing none, roll call please.
I would like to put them on a separate vote, both policy 5111 and the corresponding regulations order.
Can I press, I don't understand what, like, why you don't have to prove it, why, just logistically, what does F1 mean?
F1 means you're applying for every tuition this.
F1 is a non-immigration visa for anyone who wants to come to the United States for educational purposes. I came to this country on an F1 student visa to go to graduate school.
Exactly. But my point with that is that you're able to attend your graduate school for the entirety of the program.
Yes.
And unlike that,
there are, for example, high school student exchange programs worldwide. They are sponsored by charity organizations. One of the largest programs is the one by Rotary International. It is intended to provide students with the opportunity to learn about other countries, live there for a year, learn the language, go to school there, stay with families. All of the requirements that an F1 student has to go through proves that they are willing to follow the rules and regulations. All the things that we are not allowed to ask. For anybody else, they have to go through. I find it inconsistent to have that distinction. And that's why I won't be able to support a policy that would codify that.
Obviously, my concerns are different. My concerns are our graduation rate, which could be impacted by taking an F1 student. The responsibility of the superintendent to be able to track down a student that leaves our area. We're responsible for that student while that student's enrolled. So if the student is an F1 visa, comes to the United States, leaves Leonia to go somewhere else, I'm responsible for it. I know Joanne was very concerned about that, and we spoke about it when she was superintendent. I'm concerned about it, but I'm also concerned about our graduation rate. There's many opportunities for students that are F1 visas to go to private schools, pay tuition, and attend those schools. We're not keeping the student from going to schools in the United States. It just doesn't benefit us to do that. That's why I'm opposed to it.
All right.
Do you want to pull that?
So yeah, so we'll pull, sorry, I didn't get the second one you said 5111.
First, we have to do a motion and then pull it when we get to the discussion on the second one.
Okay, I didn't think we need to.
So we can just do a motion on all of them except for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Those separate ones.
For the first reading or not for the regulation?
Yeah, for both. So
both?
So first reading, you're voting on all of them except for 5111.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I have a question. What is it? Like we already, this is the stuff.
We need a motion.
So we need another motion.
Well, I mean, you can make a motion, let me rephrase.
Aha!
Technically, when you make the motion, you're moving all of it, right?
Right.
So now someone is requesting to pull it. So if everyone is okay with pulling it, then fundamentally what you're doing is amending the motion.
You need a motion to amend the first motion.
So is there a motion to amend the original motion? Mr. Weiner, is there a second? Ms. Albanese? I can all in favor.
That can be all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, amendment passes.
Right.
All right, so now
Let's do everything.
we can do everything except for the regulation in 5111. So roll call, please.
Ms. Albanese?
No.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
No.
Mr. Robbins?
I'm sorry. Can we clarify? I'm very confused because I thought it was.
It's passing it as written.
As written.
As written.
Yes.
Which eliminates the F1.
Yeah.
Okay, so voting yes would.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Yes. I think yes.
All right, let's go back.
I'm sorry.
The way it's written right now is
Yeah,
that F1 students would be excluded.
Okay.
See, when I heard Michael say no, and I knew Roland was going to vote no, I said, no, something. All right,
That might still be true. That might still be true.
Yeah, because every once in a while.
So can we restart that vote?
Yes.
Let's make sure we're clear.
Okay.
Yeah, like.
Can I read this affirmative again?
Sorry?
I just need a minute to reread it.
Sure.
So we're voting for that.
Yeah,
As is.
Michael, pretty much if you vote yes, you do not want to allow F1 students. If you vote no, you do.
Right.
Well, or you want to change the policy.
We want to change it.
Well, not that I don't want it, I just don't think that the law is there right now.
Because it says due to federal guidelines that one student can only attend for a year.
For a year, only in public high schools.
Right.
They can attend private schools, universities, and postgraduate for more than 1 year.
So if someone were against this as written, they would vote no.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
Because we would be assuming the responsibility of that
Correct.
student.
Correct.
That's correct.
This is still first reading.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
First answer is
Okay, so we're taking a roll call vote
What?
on.
Okay, thank you.
So let's just do it again just to make
Start
sure.
over.
Okay, roll call
I'm not
vote
gonna
on
stop.
motion, this is for policy 5111 as written.
Yes.
Right, for the first reading.
All right, roll call, please.
Okay. Mrs. Albany?
no.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
No.
Dr. Schuler?
No.
Mr. Weimer?
Nay.
Mr. Robbins?
Abstain.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
So what is that?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's, 2 yes, 1 abstention.
Okay, so that doesn't go.
No, it does not pass.
So, I just gotta go back to the policy committee.
So now we'll have to revisit it and rework it.
Right.
Do we have a policy?
Oh, I assume that you
Committee
did.
of the whole.
So-
Well,
It's committee of the whole. No,
education.
it isn't, it's committee of, committee of the whole.
Okay.
That's what we always do.
We could do it either way.
So you need to discuss it at your next meeting.
Yes.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
We should discuss it before next week.
Well, no,
We have time, that's the first reading.
believe me, I will email you all. Yes,
You still have, you have a policy right now. That's been adopted. This is just adopting changes to your policy. So it's not like you don't have a policy in place. You're okay.
Okay, all right, we'll move on to new business.
No, we did this.
We did the regulations, sorry.
We're doing the regulations next.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought we did this.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We have to pull out.
Because people want to.
So this time you have to make a separate
So we gotta make
motion.
a motion, all right, so I would like to make a motion, to pass regulations, pulling
5111.
5111.
Sure.
Separate vote.
Is there, Ms. Wild, second, no, thank you. Is there any discussion on the regulation? Seeing none, roll call please.
Mrs. Albany?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Dr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Weimer? Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
That passes.
And now reg 51.
Yeah, now regulation 51. But this is no
Is there one-
need to vote on this, because we're gonna be talking about it. So can we just table it until?
You can table that one because you've already voted the policy.
All right, so I'd like the motion
Yeah,
to
we
table
did,
it. Is there a
yeah.
second? Mr. Weimer, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great.
There you go.
Okay, now I think, Roland, we'll move to you for the first item on new business.
Yes. 2 items. I would like to make a motion for our school district to become a census partner, partnering with the Census Bureau in order to ensure that the census that happens next year is as complete and as accurate as is possible.
Is there a second on that?
Second.
Mr. Phelan, is there any discussion? Nope, seeing none, roll call please.
Mrs. Albany?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Dr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Weimer?
Aye.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, you have a second.
I have a second item. Really many changes must be looked. As has been mentioned earlier, and since I already made a shameless plug at the last mayor and council meeting, everybody should know it's Oktoberfest time this Saturday. Having had an opportunity to speak with Dr. Bertolini and our board president at the International Day of Peace, it was brought to my attention that the school has stage units available that the Rotary Club would very much like to use for our band and entertainment. Therefore, I would like to make a request for the board to authorize that Kevin Woods provide 2 4x8 stage units. One is 16 inches, the other one is 34 inches high, for the upcoming Oktoberfest.
Second.
Ms. Klein seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
You go in favor of that.
All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Oh, that's it? You called me right before the hammer went down, so I'm counting. Okay, great. All right, next on the agenda is Dr. Lewin.
So you want to explain?
Yes.
So, okay, so we have a personnel, I'm sure. Those of you who come to the meetings frequently know that typically we do personnel items in closed session or there's discussion. However, implicit in that is that we have to give employees notice that we're going to be discussing them if there's any action that could adversely affect their employment. And once they receive that notice, if they put in writing that they wish to have the discussion held in public, then the discussion is held in public. So what does that mean? Because it doesn't really happen here very often. It's uncommon. What that means is that the discussion that the board would have in the executive session is going to be held here in public. It doesn't make it an interactive process. It's not like it's a hearing or anything like that. It's merely an opportunity for the staff member, if present, and the public, if the staff member desires that, obviously, to hear what is being said and what is being discussed. So in this particular circumstance, with the employee in question, that employee has put in writing that she has waived her privacy rights. So what will happen at this point is that Dr. Bertolini will explain to the board why he's making a recommendation for the action that he is making. Board members may have questions for him, which is typically part of the communications. And then after that, then it will be closed, and then the board will vote on that recommendation.
Thank you. 2 points before we start. I've asked Mr. Service, Mr. Calendar, Mr. Manager to stay behind and answer any questions because they were part of the process during this last month. Also, they emailed you information today about the correspondence. If you didn't have an opportunity to read that during the day today, because of the short notice you received it also from this folder, which gives the correspondence also. Tonight I'm recommending that you approve the termination of the contract of our ABA high school maternity leave replacement, Ms. Stacy Picardi, as per the 60-day notice provision in her runs through March 27, 2020. The ABA students in our district are those students with the most significant learning needs, and they respond to consistency and daily routine, which is something they've not had since the start of the school year. As you can see from the documents that I provided to you, Ms. Picardi's attendance has not been sufficient to meet the needs of her students with a continuous flow of instruction. She has used all her personal days, all her sick days, and is currently receiving no pay for any absences beginning September 17, 2019. She missed the 2 days of teacher orientation in August and the first 6 days of school. She was present for 3 days and then missed the next 3. She came in on September 19th, but left after half a day and was absent this past Friday. So for the first 16 days of work, she was present for 3.5 days. If she had a disability that required reasonable accommodations, we would provide those. But she has not identified any disability, and there isn't a reasonable accommodation we can give here because the mandatory function of a teacher is to be at work in order to be able to instruct and supervise the children assigned to him or her. It is not a job that can be done remotely from home. Ms. Picardi, in her short time here, has demonstrated that she cannot reliably come to school. My concerns are many, and that is why I'm requesting board action this evening. First, her absenteeism has been significant. As I stated previously, she has exhausted all of her sick and personal days before the 4th week of September. Second, her absences not only affect the continuity of instruction for her students, but for other students as well, as her absenteeism has a ripple effect. We are draining the resources of our district. Currently, we've been utilizing our speech therapist, our behaviorist and her occupational therapist to cover her multiple absences. Thirdly, my phone conversations with her in the presence of either Mrs. Service or Ms. Pano are troubling. I want to point out 3 notable examples, but this is not an exhaustive list. I called her last Friday, September 20th, to let her know that I could not recommend that she continue her employment in the district. In the spirit of trying to help Ms. Picardi seek future employment, I told her that I would accept her resignation in lieu of my recommendation of termination tonight. I believe that listing a resignation for health or personal reasons on an application instead of a termination would be better for her. She questioned me about that and then indicated, I'm not going to put Leonia on my resume. I didn't work there. I find that the response to be very troubling, to say the least. Her first medical note was dated September 5th, excusing her from work for September 5th and 6th only, and indicating she returns to work on September 9th. She did not return until September 11th. On September 20th, we discussed her lack of doctor notes. At first, she indicated she was unable to go to doctors due to the uncertainty about her health insurance. Then later in the conversation, she said she was able to get her medication changed last week, which puzzled me since she had said earlier that she didn't go to the doctor between the 5th and the 18th. Her response when I questioned this inconsistency was, my mother got me the medication. One final example of inconsistencies in my conversations with her. As I mentioned before, she had stated that she did not go to the doctors between September 5th and September 18th. When I asked her about not having a note for other days, she said she could get a note. I asked her, how could you get a note when you didn't go to the doctors and were clear to go back to work on the 9th? She did not provide me with a response. We do not have a doctor's note for that time period. She only provided notes from the doctor's offices, indicated she could not work for 4 out of the 10 days. She indicated she was too sick to work. Finally, when discussing the 60-day clause in her contract, Mrs. Picardi told me that she wanted to be guaranteed her pay without coming to work. She said she would, if terminated, get her doctor's note excusing her for the next 60 days. I told her that her pay would be based on her attendance for the next 60 days. When she said this was a breach of the contract, I explained to her that she was incorrect. Since she had used all her paid sick days, each absence would result in no pay for that day. In closing, there are 2 main reasons for my recommendation. First, the ongoing lack of attendance by Ms. Picardi resulted in a lack of instruction on a regular basis is a serious problem. Continuity in education is crucial for all students, but in particular for our ABA students. Second, perhaps absenteeism has caused a drain of our staff resources, which is unfair both to the students served by those staff members and the staff members themselves. I ask the Board of Education to approve my recommendation for termination. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Is there a motion on the new business items in front of us? Motion? Okay. I have a motion. Is there a second? That's Dr. Kulik. Thank you. All right. Is there any discussion on the 3 new businesses? 3 or 4? 3 new business items.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is there any discussion on this new business? Thank you. Next question. All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Albanese?
Just a point of clarification. We are voting on Dr. Bertolini's recommendation of termination, correct?
That is correct. So that's my mistake, yes. I forgot that we had already done that. My mistake.
Mrs. Picardi didn't come tonight.
She hasn't chosen this one.
Okay.
Doesn't speak beforehand at public comment portion.
And we've received no other medical information for what.
That's correct. Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Albanese?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Dr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Weimer?
Aye.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We will now move into the second public comment, question, concern, or praise period. I ask that you keep your comments to 2 minutes, state your name and address. And also I do want to mention that if you have not yet picked up a community calendar, they are right over there. So please feel free. All right, is there any member of the public who wishes to speak at this moment?
You have that gavel ready for you.
Hi, Carlton Plattismore, 212 Wall Street, New Jersey. When Dr. Bertolini mentioned the growth in the student population, and I think ACS was 720, LMS was 516, and LHS was 802. So I was curious why the drop from ACS, and then there's like a drop by a couple hundred in middle school, and then it goes up a few hundred in high school. And I know the high school is when Edgewater kids come,
Well,
but they're also around in middle school.
There's only 2.5 grades in the middle school, and there's 4 grades in high school.
And then
Remember, there's only 6 grades
okay.
is Leonia, and then 7, 8 is Leonia and Edgewater, while 9 through 12 is Edgewater and Leonia.
That makes
But they're about all the same size.
Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. Should have thought that. Is that a concern? Because I
Yes.
thought it was kind of a concern.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are like buzzing numbers, 800 and 700.
Yeah, well, where they all go? And then they enlightened and they came back, but it didn't occur to me to count grades. And Ms. Albanese, thank you for putting the safety upgrade on the website. And I was curious, I know that the school has been assessed by, I think, Department of Homeland Security once or twice, and when you put the upgrades up there, or when you say the upgrades that are happening, are you going to say this is the recommendation, like this is a good guideline of what the DHS says is a really good idea?
Can I comment? I don't know if we need to specify which initiatives that we've taken or which measures we've taken were specified by whom or who recommended by whom. I think it would be safe to say that we're doing this because somebody has told us that it's the best idea, whether it's Homeland Security or Burden Prosecutor's Office or our own SHIELD upgrade that we had. You know, it's probably a combination of all of them.
Oh, that's
many of them overlap too.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be that, you know, this specific person, but it was more of a people feel this is a way to upgrade their school safety. That's good. And Dr. Bertolini, you mentioned New York schools are getting rid of chocolate milk.
Oh, they might be, I think.
Well, they might be. I'm just going to tell you. One of the kids in my daughter's class ran for student council today on his platform was to bring chocolate milk back. The good news, he was one of 3 that won, but my daughter also won, and she's pushing for a water station. So I think you got it balanced.
You water down chocolate.
What?
You water down One extra page.
I actually saw chocolate milk in my refrigerator today. I feel very guilty.
Don't waste it.
Is there any? Ms. Rowland? Yes.
Thank you. Leah Rowland, 186, Hudson Avenue. I see you hired a lot of new young people, which is wonderful, and I heard, of course, that you have a civics program. Is civics a requirement in the high school?
Middle school.
In the middle school. And in the high school or not?
Well, high school is part of their history classes, but it's a middle school requirement.
Okay.
There's a class called AP Government and Politics, and it's included in the history.
Okay. In terms of that, I'm wondering if the school has any initiative for urging 18-year-olds to register to vote.
It's part of the senior week activities. So the answer is yes.
I'm very happy to hear that.
Because by that point, a lot of them turned 18 before election, and so we encourage them to do that during senior week.
So do you have any information on what percentage of students have done that, or?
Well, it's senior week, so it's right at the end before they graduate, so I don't have a number for you on that. But we certainly encourage them strongly.
I'm very happy to hear
And
that. Thank you so much.
Just to add to that, Mrs. Gralla, who's the guidance secretary, also encourages them on a regular basis to sign up.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear that.
I heard actually today happens to be National Voter Registration Day.
It is.
Definitely register to vote.
This is really sad. Hi, Kim Querin, 175 Highwood. I was so excited to hear about the Education Committee's initiative on restorative justice. Are you planning on sharing some of that information as it evolves?
Yes. So
I think some parents would probably love to get involved with that whole process.
Yeah, so we're kind of in the infancy stages,
Yeah.
and you know, the two principals just attended the meeting, so we'll like after my next meeting, I'll report out, and then
Thank you.
Sure.
I think it would be a good idea from the resolution we passed about getting restorative justice. I believe it was dated for January 2020. So maybe we can have like an update at our January meeting in 2020, just like the...
Well, we're going to have after the...
Whatever, yeah, no, that's great. Okay. Are there any other members of the public wish to speak?
Carol Schultz, 313 last year. I just have a question. When they talk about the parent liaison, that is, what is that role? I don't understand.
It was a grant that we received through the Greg Van Ness applied for Title I funds to try to create communication between our language barrier parents, and that's what we're using the grant money for. So it's one of our parents. She was part of the parent corner here at ACS last year, and she did a wonderful job, and that's why Dr. Martinez selected her.
Oh, great. Thank you. And the F1, I'm just curious, does that include like exchange students if they would want to come, or doesn't it? You would be...
Yeah, it would include any student for 1 year.
Okay, even through like the YCS or whatever, YFS or whatever.
Not YCS, but I'm not sure what
the youth, my husband came on that in his senior year, and it was an exchange program. But I know that sometimes people don't work out and they have to change school districts, and that seems like what you're talking about is the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any other members of the public who wish to speak? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to take this, to close public comments? Mr. Kramer, is there a second? Fine. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're in board comments. Do any board members have any comments to make? Ms. Albany?
Mr. Weimer shared with us yesterday at our committee meeting something about leadership for educational... Weimer. Should have called him Roland. Leadership for Educational Excellence, and it's a Military Opportunities Day. So I don't know if everybody's aware, but my son just started college this year, and he's doing ROTC as part of his college experience. We had explored different military options for him, including enlisting, or Naval Academy, or West Point. But it seems like when you're in your junior or senior year, some of those options are already, it's a little too late. So I would like to ask if some of the military representatives could come in and talk about the medical careers that are possible through the military, and law, and all the different kinds of careers, that they make options. And he's actually getting scholarships from them too. So it's really, I think we don't talk about it enough in our district, but it could be really well utilized.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we should go even further and look into a consortium for JROTC. That would be a wonderful program. It boosts grades. It's great. So yeah, no, wonderful. We'll do one. Sorry, but no. I also think the colleges come into our schools and sell their shit. We should have plumbers and electricians and people from the military, etc., come in.
We have I think it's in May, Chuck? In May this year, we got an invitation to a student, basically for trades. It's going to be, I think it's in Edison. Yeah, and we're going to send both Chuck Callender, our principal, and Amy Stein, with guidance to that program to try to make some connections for when we do put the ABT in. And also give opportunities for our students that aren't necessarily going college path. As we all know, finding a good plumber is difficult, and finding an inexpensive plumber is impossible. So it's certainly a career that it's not a bad.
A union and a pension.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, all is good. Any other board comments? Okay.
I just have a quick kudos to our facilities staff, I guess it would be, for replacing the broken slides on the playground at ACS. The kids are very happy.
I was driving down Forley Road and I saw the slide and I was like, oh. And then I saw the new one and I was like, oh, finally. But yeah.
Everyone's happy with this slide.
Are there any other comments? Yes, this one. You had
the question was raised whether we are concerned about increasing enrollment. Yes, we are. Increases in enrollment have significant impact on our school district. If there is a newspaper article about a new building project in our sending district, everybody mentally makes a calculation of what the impact could be on the school enrollment that eventually will hit our school district. But as I've said numerous times before, we have to start seriously looking into what is happening in Leonia with our housing stock. Our community is made up something like 87% single-family homes. A lot of them are rather old. Those that are coming on the market are typically homes where someone is moving out of town, empty nesters. The homes are purchased and you see them being renovated. That typically means that they are expanded, bathrooms and bedrooms are being added, and the families that can afford to purchase a home in Leonia do so because they love our school district. The local discussion board mentioned that just moved into town with her 4 grandchildren. I almost fainted because I calculated out how much that costs for one person to move in with 4 children. Then I found out that the oldest child is aged out. So I revised my calculation, and it still takes the tax revenue from 5 single-family homes to educate those 3 children. That is an unsustainable level of financial burden on our school district. So we have to be very, very careful as to what the demographic development in Leonia is. So we need to look into what is happening with those homes that turn rather old, and if they turn over and they turn into properties that families with children will buy, it has a direct impact on the future of our school district. And what I have been saying for as long as I have been speaking out about it, the sooner we start looking into these things, the more options and the more maneuvering room we have. The longer we wait with our plans, the tighter the timeline gets and the more difficult it becomes to figure out the financial impact on that. We are seeing this with our friends in Edgewater. We should, as a community, be very aware of the impact this is going to have a number of years down the road for Leonia. So we are looking at enrollment increases not only in Edgewater but also from Leonia. ATS has the highest number of students that it's ever had. But also the high school enrollment numbers are significant, and a lot of them are actually Leonia students. So it's not just the impact from Edgewater.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Any other board comments? Seeing none, move to go into closed session. Is there a second? This fine? We're moving along tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much for coming, everybody, and have a safe trip home. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Zoning Board of Education shall conduct a closed executive session pursuant to the exceptions prescribed by NJSA 10:4-12 for the purpose of discussing personnel matters, contract negotiations, and attorney-client privileges. It is anticipated that the length of this meeting, executive session will be approximately 40 minutes, and that actions may or may not be taken in public after the executive session. The minutes of the executive session will be released when the need for confidentiality in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12 no longer applies. Is there a motion on the
Yes.
Personnel, Ms. Klein, is there a second?
18A through 18C.
Correct. Is there a second? Sorry. Dr. Schuler, is there any discussion? No. Okay, great. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Albanese?
Yes.
Mrs. Lisa Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Phelan?
Yes.
Mr. Robbins?
Yes.
Dr. Schuler?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Weimer?
Aye.
Mrs. Wild?
Yes.
Motion carries.
No, it's just a motion to adjourn, right? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Ms. Klein, is there a second? Ms. Thompson? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? 9:50.
Roland, for the beer stuff,